And for all the latest from Santa Clara and beyond, we say hello to CBS senior NFL insider Josina Anderson. Joe, another exciting one on field here in pregame. All the talk was about Jimmy Garoppolo bouncing back from what was a 10-point performance. This offense and Jimmy looked far more confident this go-around. What did you make of his performance and maybe some of the things that you saw that we didn't throughout?
Well, I think the way Jimmy G walked off the field, looked like he was FaceTiming with somebody, all smiles. We had multiple people crashing the interview that I was doing with George Kittle. And I think it just embodied the good energy that is around this team when you compare to how it looked when they were facing the Denver Broncos and they finished that in a loss 11-10. And so the fact that they were able to get back into rhythm is indicative of everything we were talking about in pregame. Jimmy G needing more time to build chemistry, to get the timing. And oh, by the way, it didn't hurt that he was going up against a team that he's very familiar with, that he's been successful with. 6-1 against them coming into this game, and then now obviously having 7 wins against that same team. So, and of course, it doesn't hurt that you have Deebo Samuel being able to rumble and stumble and get in the end zone and dropping defenders like flies, almost like Marshawn Lynch. That certainly helps, and obviously him getting over 100 yards receiving. But definitely looked way more in sync, and it was good to also see Kyle Shanahan big smiles in the locker room as well.
Yeah, it's a team that knows how to pivot in season. Each of their last 6 losses they followed with a win. Shanahan knows how to prep these guys coming off a loss. We'll see what it looks like moving forward for the 49ers, but they do get this one over on the Rams. And I want to sort of take your temperature here on the Rams because Matthew Stafford has not been good. Leads the league in interceptions right now. Threw another one here in the fourth quarter. 3 fourth-quarter interceptions of the 6 that he's thrown this season. Where are you at on Matt Stafford right now in this LA team that has underperformed through 4 weeks?
He's off. And some of that has to do with facing really good defenses in those first 4 games. The first loss came against the Bills, how they were able to get pressure on his dropbacks without blitzing. I spoke to Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw after the game, and though they also, too, can get pressure with their front 4, they did say that they mixed it up a little bit, throwing guys 5 or more on the pressure as far as getting to the quarterback just to switch it up on him. And they said that he looked uncomfortable, that he didn't handle it well. And that's what happens when you face 2 of the top defenses in the league. So I think it's somewhat indicative of the stature of the defenses that he's been facing. But also just in general, there were some questions with the offseason, surgery and how he was going to fare. And then having to integrate some new pieces as far as the wide receivers, not having OBJ, not having Robert Woods. People keep talking about it. I was talking to a media member just now before we got on this live shot, and people were saying, what is going on with the connection with Matthew Stafford and Allen Robinson? I mean, at some point, yes, you want to have that rapport with Cooper Kupp, but you still got to get the other wide receivers involved as well, or you're going to lose them, let alone the fact that you want to spread the ball and spread the defensive attention. So I think a few things are going on. It's not like it can't be fixed. Sean McVay is a genius offensively. Obviously, Matthew Stafford is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but right now it's not sinking.
Yeah, hard to 2 fourth-quarter giveaways like we saw here on Monday night. We know, Josina, your phone is always ringing. It's always open, and all 32 teams in the NFL have that phone number. I'm glad that you mentioned Odell Beckham Jr. because nobody's tapped in better. What can you tell us on the life and times of Odell right now? Because there are teams that could use a receiver of that ilk.
Well, the first thing I want to say is people need to have reading comprehension. When I put out a tweet and I say that he is visiting with the Giants, that is true. He was visiting with the Giants. He was in the building visiting Giants. And yes, that included Shep, who was getting ready for surgery. That included multiple other players who, by the way, he didn't have to visit in the building. Could have gone to their homes. So the thing to take out of that is not to pay attention to whether it's a formal visit or not. The thing to pay attention to is the fact that he was in the building, period. Remember that this is the team that shipped him out to go to Cleveland against his will. That's not what he wanted to do. That wasn't a free agent choice. So it's not like he left with everything and that was hokey pokey. Do people forget, under the circumstances that he left the Giants? So for him to walk back in that building and, oh, yes, it's a different different people in the building. It's not the same coaches and all that other stuff. But it's still the scene of the area. I don't want to say scene of crime. You know what I'm trying to say, as far as, him returning to that. So I think that that's a big thing emotionally for him. And I think the biggest question people should be asking, though I'm not going to specifically ask it right here, but I think you can infer where we're going to, would he be interested in returning to the Giants? That's the question people should be asking, right? That's the question people should be asking. So I'm just going to leave it there.
And that is where we'll leave it. Maybe we don't charter the yacht and dust off the Timbs just yet to get a reprisal of that infamous picture, but it is something to keep an eye on, and we'll continue to come to Josina for all the latest.
Well, Joe,
yeah.
Uh-huh. And Joe, yes, and he still has to listen, he still has to rehab the ACL, so the ACL is not magically ready. I mean, he tore it in February, so nothing is saying that anything is imminent. But when he is done rehabbing the ACL, what and who will be among his choices as far as where he would like to go as a free agent.
It's all about relationships. It's all about relationships, and we love ours with Josina Anderson. Joe, we appreciate you. Safe travels.
Okay, thanks. Okay, you too.
All right, let's take a look at those NFC West standings, and it's pretty simple. Deuces. San Francisco, Deebo Samuel give a big deuces to LA on that long 57-yard touchdown strike that went a long way in deciding this one here on Monday night. But everybody even 2-2 in what was supposed to be one of the highly contested divisions in the game. It's highly contested, but for a myriad of reasons.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.